Japan is by the sea, filled with
Go-Go Gadget Pixel Reducer!
and it's beautiful. In the year negative a billion,
To Freddy Fazbear?
might not have been here. In the year negative 40,000, it was here. And you could walk to it, and some people walked to it. Then it got warmer, some icebergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of because it's warmer. So now there's people on the island. They're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees, and using the latest technology, like stones and 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 stones. Ding dong. It's the and they have technology from the future, like really good and crazy
mind-altering inhibitors
arms. Now you can make a lot of
mind-altering inhibitors
really quickly. That means if you own the
Quests where I need to follow an NPC and they move slower than my running speed but faster than my walking speed.
you own a lot of
mind-altering inhibitors,
which is something everybody needs to.
Play with my balls.
So that makes you rice farming and rice kingdoms spread across the land, all the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, and here. But this one was the most ruled by a super person, or emperor for short. Knock knock, get the door. It's the new prince wants everyone to try this hot new religion from
Man, shut the fuck.
Please try this religion, he said. Said everybody. Try it, he said. Said everybody again, quieter this time. And so the religion was put into place, and all the rules that came with it. Then the government was taken over by Adolf Hitler! And they made some reforms, like making the government govern more, and making the government more like government, which is a government that governs more. Hi, said. Hi, said. Can you call us something else other than said Japan? Like what? Said China. How about said Japan. And they stole China's alphabet and wrote a book about and then they made lots of art and another book about them.
Today is International Day, when we celebrate all the countries of the world. Hooray!
Paris versus France.
I'm France.
George beat Russia.
Then they stopped moving the capital every time the emperor died and kept it in one place for a while. Then they stopped moving the capital every time the emperor died and kept it in one place for a while. Then they stopped moving the capital every time the emperor right here. And they conquered the finally, get that squared away. A rich hipster named bored with modern Buddhism, visits China and learns a better version, which is more comes back, reinvents the alphabet, and causes art and shit for a long time. And the royal palace turned into
low-income housing environment that goes by the government name of Section 8.
but they really didn't give a shit about running the country. So if you live outside the palace, how are you supposed to protect your criminals from shit? Hire us criminals.
Adolf Hitler! Command of the Third Reich!
Started hiring samurai. Criminals hired samurai. Poor people who could not afford to hire samurai did not hire
Meet a group of my allies.
shit. Became organized and powerful. More powerful than the shit. So they made their own military shit. Here. They let the emperor still be emperor, but
Adolf Hitler!
is actually in control. Breaking news. The Mongols have invaded
We've invaded.
the Mongols.
Please respect us, or else we might invade
All my fellas!
as well.
Okay.
All my fellas!
So the Mongols came over, ready for war, and died in They tried again, and had a nice time fighting with the Japanese, but then died in Then the emperor overthrows the shogunate. Then the shogunate overthrows him back and moves to Kyoto and makes a new shogunate. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants, that's fine. Now there's more. Painting with less collaborative
Adolf Hitler!
criminals. It's time for who's going to be the next.
Command of the Third Reich!
Usually it's the shogun's but the shogun doesn't have a kid. So he tries to get his brother to quit being
Is Russia.
Огонь на подавление! Франц, сзади по левому флангу! Огонь! Врач! Они обходят нас с тыла! Перезаряжают! Прикройте
be the next shogun. He says okay, but then the shogun has a kid. So now who's it gonna be? Vote now on your... And everyone voted so hard that the palace caught on fire and...
You know what that means? Fish!
The shogun actually didn't care. He was off somewhere doing... And the whole country broke into pieces. Everyone...
Can't wait to go home and smoke some gas.
And it's anybody's game. Knock knock, it's your multiplayer. Oh, they're not here to take over. They just want to sell shit. Like clocks and guns. And that's cool, but everyone's still fighting each other for... Now with carbon monoxide. And wouldn't it be nice to control this fucker? Which right now is... With
You favorite. How you want? Here we live.
controlling them. This clan is ready to make
My muscles.
First, they have to trample this which is in the way. Surprise! And wins. And the leader of that steals the idea of invading and invades the and it goes very well. He's about halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him killed Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a no, don't. And then someone else who works for him kills Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a no, don't. And Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a no, don't. It finishes conquering Japan. And then Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a no, don't. Confiscated everybody's swords and made some rules. And now Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a no, don't. Invade Korea and then hopefully China. Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a no, don't. And failed, and also... But before he died, he told...
Adolf Hitler! Command of the Third Reich! Little known fact, also 2 points a mic!
Take care of his 5-year-old son until he's old enough to be the next ruler of Japan.
Adolf Hitler! Command of the Third Reich! Little known fact, also 2 points a mic!
Yeah, right. It's not going to be this kid. It's going to be one of us, because we're grown-ups. And it's probably going to be this kid.
Adolf Hitler!
Who happens to be way more rich and than the others. A lot of people support him. Fish. A lot of people support not support him. Fish. They have a fight. Fish. Wins and starts a new government right here.
Still no bitches, Mr. Squidward.
He still lets the emperor dress like an and have very nice But don't get confused. This is the new government, and they are very so close the country.
Adolf Hitler!
Can leave and
Adolf Hitler!
can come in, except for the shit if they want to buy and sell Dutch. But they have to do it right here. Now that the entire country was not at war with it, the population increased a lot.
Objects I shut my ass. Vibrators. Dildos. Pens. Pencils. Coins. Pebbles. Broomstick handle. Fishing rod handle.
People started to study.
You know what that means? Fish!
Books they bought from the Dutch. We're talking.
Speaking of carbon atoms, what about the carbon atoms? I'm talking about fucking carbon atoms. We don't even care about fucking carbon atoms. Here's another question I have. Huh? Well, let's get back to this carbon atom shit. Now, the polls show the American people want carbon and they want atoms. I say, how about we blow up the World Trade Center?
Over time, the economic and cultural prosperity began to gradually slow down. Knock knock. It's the United States.
From retard.
With huge boats.
That goes by the government name of Section 8.
Stop having it be closed. The United States. There's really nothing they could do, so they signed a contract that lets the United States and visit Japan anytime they want. Choshu and Satsuma hated this.
You know what that means? Fish!
They said.
You know what that means?
And with almost very little outside help, they overthrew the somehow made the They made a new government, which was a lot more
Yay!
They made a new constitution that was pretty
Yay!
And a military that was pretty
Yay!
And do you know what else is
Yay!
That's right, it's conquering.
How'd we do that?
With your team!
But how do we do that?
With your team!
So what can we conquer?
Guy with Down syndrome.
They conquered
Guy with Down syndrome.
it from its previous owner. and then go a little bit further, and Russia rushes in out of nowhere and says, and Russia builds their supervised by a fuck ton of soldiers, and then when the railroad was done, they downgraded to a shit ton of soldiers, and Japan says, can you maybe
shoved up my ass?
And Russia says, how about maybe you
shoved up my ass?
Japan is kind of scared of
Russia.
Огонь на подавление! Враг сзади по левому флангу! Огонь! Врач! Они обходят нас с тыла! Перезаряжают! Прикройте меня! Они подходят к нам с тыла! Противник на северо-востоке! Противник! Северо-запад! Противник на юге! Они атакуют с юго-востока! Замечен противник на юго-западе! А я прикручу второго!
You'll never guess who's also kind of scared of
Russia.
Огонь на подавление!
Great Britain. So Japan and Great Britain make an alliance together so they can be a little less scared of Russia. Feeling confident, Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment, and then they both get tired and stop.
You know what that means?
It's time for fish! The world is about to have
Go-go gadget pixel reducer! Oh god! Oh, the pixels! The pixels, where they're going! Ah!
because it's the 1900s and
Objects that I've shoved up my ass.
getting crazy, and all these empires are excited to Meanwhile, Japan
Shoved up my ass.
wants more. And the next thing on their list is this part of
My
China
ass.
Man, shut the fuck.
and lots of tiny all that stuff belongs to which just had war declared on it by Britain. Because Britain
Shoved up my ass.
which was being trespassed by Germany in order to get to kick France's ass because France is friends with who was getting ready to kick off ass because Austria was getting ready to kick because someone from Serbia shot the leader of Austria's ass, or actually shot him in his ass. And Britain is currently friends with Japan. Duh, Japan should take the they wanted to do anyway, so they called Britain on the telly to sort of let them know. And then they and they also helped Britain a little here and there with some
Objects I shove up my ass. Vibrators. Dildos. Pens. Pencils. Coins. Pebbles. Broomstick handle. Fishing rod handle. Umbrella handle. Toothbrush handle. Hockey stick handle. Fingers. Sawgrass jar. Test tube. Screwdriver handle. Stiff box. Cigar. Banana.
Now the war is and congratulations, Japan, you technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the negotiating table with the big they decided who owns what. And yes, Japan gets to keep Germany. You also get
Shoved up my ass.
whose mission statement is to try not to get
Shoved up my ass.
The Great Depression is bad, and Japan's economy is now not satisfactory. But the military is doing just
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
and it invades Manchuria. In the League of Nations, it's like communism in the Soviet Union. And Japan said, how about I do anyway? And Japan invaded more and more and more and more of
My ass.
was planning to invade the entire Soviet Union.
You've got mail.
It's from new leader of Germany. He has a cool he's trying to take over the world and needs friends. This also got forwarded to they all decided to be friends
Sexy femboy.
because they had so much in common. You could make a no, don't.
You know what that means?
It's time for
Fish.
Germany is in then they invade the neighbors' neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' 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 neighbors. Then they invade
My ass.
then the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors who happen to be Britain said
Man, shut the fuck.
and the United States started helping Britain because they are good friends and started helping Japan because they're friends and our friends are friends. Plus they're planning on invading. The United States is also working on a large, very huge jet. Bigger than any other jet. Ever. But they still haven't joined the war. War looks bad on TV, and the United States is really starting to care about their image. But then Japan and challenges them to war. And they say yes. And then Germany, as a symbol of friendship, declares war on the United States also. So the United States goes to war and they help the gang chase Germany back into Japan. And they also start chasing Japan back into Germany. And they haven't used the bomb yet and are curious to see if it works. So they drop it on this jet. They actually drop 2.
LMFAO! Yeah!
United States installed a new bomb inspired by the German government with just the right ingredients for a post-war economic as fast as they can, and also better than everybody else. They get not satisfactory. United States installed a new bomb